Hi there, my name is Matthew Krajewski, author of Modern Magic, Reclaiming Your Magical Heritage. You can learn more by going to www.magicalheritage.com. The book is now available from most online book retailers like Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Today I wanted to talk to you about spiritual teachers and writers that have been important to me. And this will be a mini-series within this series of videos, because in my first book I do cite a lot of other authors and works, and from what I've read or seen in spirituality books, it's not usual, and wanted to talk a little bit about who these authors and teachers were, or are rather, and why they are important to me, and why why there's going to be this mini series of fan videos or fan letters to these important spiritual people. So, in my first book, I do cite Sandra Ingerman quite a few times. And this author and spirituality teacher has written a lot about, I would say, modern shamanism. So, as my understanding is that in the 1970s, there was this idea of core shamanism that was developed based on indigenous cultural shamanism the world over, with a distinct angle for bringing it into the mainstream and into our popular culture. Not as something to sell or commodify, but as a genuine spiritual practice for those that needed this type of spiritual practice and were attuned to this type of energy. I would say those that had an interest in it, but were also naturally inclined toward it. And as I understand it, Sandra Ingerman kind of continues that tradition and writes about a core or modern shamanism and how to do a soul retrieval, contact your spirit animal, as well as a lot of very deep spiritual writings about what it means to live and breathe this type of spiritual practice. So I've read a number of her books, from Soul Retrieval to Medicine for the Earth to Awakening to the Spirit World, which she co-authored with Hank Wesselman. And in my first book, I cite Awakening to the Spirit World a lot, because it is an important book on spirituality that I hope a lot of people read and come in contact with, because it blew me away and was an important work that showed me that the world of what I would call the other side, or the spirit world, is not something that's separate from us. It's something that's all around us. And it's something that she and Hank Wesselman really go into detail about and articulate in a very rational, modern, and easy to understand way. And the things I explore in my book, Modern Magic, the idea of the other side in the spirit world and interacting with that world and how it peeks into our modern world constantly, is key to my own work. So, whenever people ask me about my spirituality, it's no one label seems to fit, hence why I had to write Modern Magic. If anything, I'd be inclined to say that I'm magical, that I have a magical spirituality. That's really, to me, is the most comfortable and elicits the least confusion. But the labels of shaman or witch or mystic are all equally applicable. They're all interconnected, and they all draw on, to me, the same energy. But what I found is, especially with, I go to psychics, I go to healers, I go, I'm very, I love to explore, especially in the part of California that I live in, all the different spirituality teachers, practices, services that are actually offered. And when I talk about shamanism, especially to people that are a little bit older than myself, there's always this question that comes up of, oh, who have you studied with? What have you studied? Who have you, as if there's a shaman university that we can go to and be ordained as practicing shamans of some sort. I always find it a little bit curious because, yes, there's definitely teachers and instructions of that type available, but I think for most people, they don't have the time or the resources to devote to that. Um, for myself, it was less about finding, learning something, which I think a lot of these schools or programs are about, and more about understanding something. And for me, understanding comes most readily from reading. And therefore, I have no problem calling myself a shaman and being recognized as a shaman by my peers, because for me, it was not something that I went looking for. It was something that was always a part of my life and a part of my world, but I just didn't understand what it was. Ever since I was a child, I believe I've interacted actively with the other side, had visions, seen things, all these things are very shamanic experiences. And, as I grew older, and especially with my awakening in 2012, it was less about, oh, this is something I want to learn about and see if it fits for me, but it was more about the reality of like, I'm being overwhelmed by something I don't understand, and I need to read as much as possible by those that have come before me so that I can process it, make sense of it, and be grounded in understanding my own spiritual self, my energetic self, my soul. And for that reason, I just want to offer a huge, 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 huge thank you to Sandra Ingerman and to all the books that she's published and that I've read, because it's people like her that, for me, were this, let's say, this life preserver when you feel really adrift, almost, treading water and hoping not to drown in kind of this new spiritual world you find yourself in. And for people like her that I think have been extremely articulate, caring, wise in the words they've chosen, the perspective they've offered, it's incredible to me. So thank you, Sandra Ingerman, wherever you are. We've never met before, but I just wanted to offer my thanks for, I would say, the light that you've brought into this world and the works that you've published, and they've helped me, and I'm sure they've helped many other young shamans like myself that are coming of age. So that is my thank you to Sandra Ingerman. And as always, my first book, Modern Magic, Reclaiming Your Magical Heritage, is now available from Amazon, Balboa Press, Barnes & Noble. And you can learn more about the book by going to www.magicalheritage.com. Bye for now.